9 News at 9 starts right now.
We are at the tail end of a whole week's worth of sweltering heat. Denver reached at or above 97 degrees 5 days in a row. Tonight, we're finally getting a little bit of relief in the form of a cold front. Good evening, I'm Jennifer Meckles. A cold front, right? Let's begin tonight with 9 News Weather Impact Team Meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen. Not a dramatic drop in temps, Corey, but we will take what we can get here.
Yeah, this time of year we probably should call them cool fronts, but it does the job. We're going to get a little bit of a break from this kind of stuff here. You mentioned that 98 in Denver. We've only had 97 or above 5 days in a row, 11 times in 153 years. So pretty unusual stuff. 99 in Boulder. This 97 in Colorado Springs broke a record today, and it was another hot day and dry and windy on the western slope, and it will be again tomorrow. Saturday, here's what the impacts of that cool front will do for us tomorrow. Likely going to keep us below 90 degrees for high temperature. See quite a bit of cloud cover throughout the afternoon as well. On the western slope, they stay hot, dry, windy. Fire weather warning will be in place one more day before they will get a break as well from this trough of low pressure. Temperatures all across the eastern half of the state will get a little bit of a break. If you look at the next few days, really 3-day break if you count anything below 90 degrees. I'll have more on the fire danger impacts and also the break from that heat coming up in the full forecast. Jenny.
Corey, thank you. High winds are fueling a really big fire, still burning uncontained near the town of Meeker. Fire officials have not updated the acreage on the Lee fire since last night. At that point, though, it was over 58,000 acres, about 90 square miles. We do know high winds increased fire activity today and limited firefighters' ability to drop water from their planes. The other big one, burning just east of the Lee fire, is the Elk Fire. Officials say crews have continued to strengthen their fire lines there. At last check, that one burned over 14,000 acres, about 22 square miles. More than 500 people are in Rio Blanco County working to get a better handle on both of those fires. 9 News reporter Shalima Maharaj joins us tonight. You spoke with one of the departments who've got a team out there now, Shalima.
That's right. North Metro Fire Rescue certainly isn't new to pitching in when times get tough. They sent a crew to California to help fight the deadly Palisades fire earlier this year, and they're now doing the same in Rio Blanco County. When help was needed, North Metro Fire Rescue answered the call.
So they're on a 16-hour schedule. They work 16 on, 8 off. So they sleep during the day, try to get rest, and then at night they go back to work.
Bill Castanguay knows just what his crew is up against.
I worked on the Pine Gulch fire that went over 200,000 acres, and that thing was burning in the same type of fuel.
He's a lieutenant and wildland coordinator with the department.
Yeah, I think we have a drought-stricken forest, right? We have pinyon, juniper, pine up there that basically burns like gasoline. So that's what you're seeing.
Right now, they have a 4-person engine crew in Rio Blanco County battling the Elk Fire.
You have the wind and topography, and when it aligns with what you're seeing right now, it'll burn really fast. Almost as fast as a car can drive is the movement that we're seeing up there.
Wildfire activity across the country has intensified. This week, the National Interagency Fire Center raised the national preparedness level to 4, with the highest level being 5.
Any type of lightning strike is now taking and going pretty big you can see with this wind and the dry fuel behind us as well.
What they need now is a reprieve in the form of rain, and a lot of it.
We're just dealing with times of a drought-stricken Midwest all the way out to the West Coast. I think it's going to be a busy rest of the summer unless we start seeing a lot of moisture come in.
Now, North Metro Fire Rescue will also be sending someone to the Turner Gulch fire. There is a lot of need right now, but it comes down to making sure that they have enough people in the area they serve first before they can free anyone else up to respond somewhere else. Shalima Maharaj, 9 News.
Shalima, thank you. In Atlanta, a police officer and a suspected gunman are both dead tonight after a shooting near the CDC and Emory University. Police say the shooter opened fire this afternoon, hitting several windows at CDC buildings. No civilians got hurt, but an officer was shot and later died at the hospital. Investigators say the gunman was also found dead on the second floor of a building across from the CDC. Not clear if he was killed by police or turned the gun on himself. Officers also recovered multiple weapons at the scene. The Jefferson County Coroner's Office says they cannot determine how hairstylist Jax Graton died. Tonight, we're getting a better understanding of why it's so difficult for them to come to a conclusion in this case. 9 News reporter Ria Joss spoke to an expert about the autopsy report released just this week, and they said, Ria, that really time is a major issue here.
Yeah, so 7 weeks has passed from the time that she was seen to the time her body was found. The forensic pathologist I spoke with said this autopsy report was thorough, and we found out a lot of new information that we had never seen before. But in the end, the coroner could not come to a conclusion.
As coroners, our job as much for the deceased as it is for the living as well.
Clarity is something the Jefferson County Coroner's Office could not give Jax Graton's family. Jax was a hairstylist in Denver. Her family reported her missing in April. Weeks later, her body was found in a narrow space between 2 buildings in Lakewood, below a second-floor apartment window. I spoke with Rob Kurtzman, former Mesa County coroner and longtime forensic pathologist, about the findings in this autopsy report released this week.
And in this case, because of the post-mortem change, we really can't see the surface of the body, which is where, as forensic pathologists, we would be looking for different types of injury patterns.
Her body was so decomposed, the coroner said it was impossible to prove a cause or manner of death. Drug use, accidental blunt force injuries, assault are all possibilities in this case.
One of the findings of the toxicologic examination was that methamphetamine was detected.
From the autopsy, we also know that she'd been with 2 men the last night she was seen, reportedly using a drug called GHB before vomiting. The report said the men propped her up on the couch and left. When they returned, she was gone.
Certainly it would be possible for them to have fallen out of that window, been pushed out of that window, have jumped.
In a Facebook post this week, Jax's mom says the report, quote, only demonstrates the reason why we have to fight for Jax. The lack of answers is frustrating for Jax's family. Kurtzman says it's frustrating for coroners too.
In my opinion, this report does as much as it's able to possibly accomplish with the information that's available.
Now, Lakewood police say the case is still under investigation and declined to comment. Jax's family has been vocal about the department's handling of this case, and they plan to rally at Lakewood City Council on Monday. Live in the studio, Ria Joss, 9 News.
A retired Aurora police detective is now under investigation for taking copies of police reports and other documents home with him. Tonight, we're waiting to hear if the discovery will affect any cases that have already gone to trial. APD says this detective ended his four-decade career back in 2022, and he took home 30 boxes of investigative documents, keeping them in his crawl space. The files deal with criminal cases in 3 different judicial districts, and it's expected to take prosecutors now months to sort through all of them. Wynn Police Chief Todd Chamberlain went public with this situation yesterday. He said these records were copies of original files. If that holds true, the discovery may not impact a single case. But it would be a very different story if any of those documents were not turned over to defense attorneys, a process known as discovery.
The identification of even one page of discovery that's original in the possession of a retired detective is going to create basically a landslide with other cases called into doubt, even if there's no reason to do so.
Now, the former detective has not been accused of a crime. We are not naming him at this point. The Mesa County Sheriff's Office wants a relatively new state law restricting information sharing with ICE. They want that law overturned. Now they are countersuing the state. It all stems from a traffic stop back in June. Mesa County Deputy Alexander Zwink pulled over 19-year-old Caroline Gonçalves for following too closely. After finding out she was originally from Brazil, Zwink tipped off federal immigration agents in a group chat. They detained her shortly after the traffic stop. Colorado's Democratic attorney, Phil Weiser's office, is now investigating. He says Zwink violated a new state law prohibiting government employees from sharing personal information with ICE without a warrant. In a lawsuit filed yesterday, Mesa County argued the law is too vague and it impedes the department's ability to work with federal agents to stop drug trafficking. Mesa County is asking a federal judge to either overturn the new state law or update the law to protect government employees unless they, quote, intentionally turn data over to ICE for the sole purpose of immigration enforcement. Well, it is one thing to leave trash bags on a road. It's another to dump trash bags filled with marijuana. The Weld County Sheriff's Office says that happened this week near Weld County Road 20 and Colorado Boulevard. They say somebody called them after they saw the bags and suspected what might be inside, and sure enough, deputies confirmed they were stuffed with stems, buds, leaves, all of it weighing in more than 4 pounds. Deputies do not know who left them there. They say the marijuana is now in evidence and eventually will be destroyed. A cannabis club in Denver could lose its license after city inspectors reportedly found several violations at a 420 event, but the club's owner is making his own accusations. Tetra Lounge in Rhino cannot sell cannabis or even samples. Customers have to bring their own and they pay a fee to smoke on site. City inspectors said they found vendors and customers indoors sampling and selling cannabis products. However, the club's owner says one inspector did something far more shocking during their inspection.
One of the inspectors asked blatantly and clearly, does this have psilocybin in it? The response was yes. He picks up the gummy, throws it in his mouth in front of his partner, myself, and the company representative, and we go about our day.
A spokesperson for Denver Excise and Licenses says that employee no longer works for the city, but they would not comment on specifics. There will be a hearing in October to decide if Tetra can keep its license. They can continue operating until then.